Hello everybody and welcome to Zelda Speedruns, broadcasting the Zelda 2 Randomizer Standard Tournament. We got Group A for you today. It's AnimusUnited versus Xarnax42. Commentating for us, we have Elendar and Mirai, and tracking is BKT Patrick. Say hello everybody.
Hello everybody. Should be a really exciting one. AnimusUnited, a newer player to the randomizer, but currently sitting at 3-0 in his group, looking to close out the sweep. Xarnax, a veteran player, this is his first match of the tournament. He's getting them in towards the end, so should be a really close match, really exciting. They're playing on group set 4 today, so we've got no starting candle, and we've got mixed enemies, so we could see some difficult early combat. We could see some potential traditional 4.0 layout trolls. They should be starting any second now. We can see what sort of fun the randomizer has for us today. And just a few more seconds to start. And we've got Mirai with us. Hello, Mirai.
Hello, everyone. Are we live? This is fun.
We are. Through just a few more seconds, we're starting the race.
I'm excited.
I'm very excited for this one. Like I said, I think both of these players are excellent players. One veteran, one very excellent new player, and we're off in the West. Got Dungeon 1 fairly early on, and another dungeon right next to it. It looks like it's 3 or 6.
Interesting. Yeah, we got Medicine Cave here. I do agree that we do have a veteran and someone who's up and coming here, who's doing very well. That would be Animus, and Xarnax would be the veteran here. And I think Xarnax is maybe selling himself a little short in the race room before this point. He hasn't been doing a lot of practice for the 4.0 randomizer, it seems, and so he might be a little rusty. And but we'll see how everyone performs here.
Looks like this second part of the cave, we've got nasty red Dyra, but Xarnax taking it down no problem. Although it looks like it might have been joined by another red Dyra, or
yeah,
may need to draw that Dyra back and take your time killing it. Attack 1 red Dyras can be extremely tanky.
Trying to count the hits here, I think we've got 7. Ooh. This might be one of those caves where you just kind of come back later.
Yep. Either that or potentially try to take the Dyra jump over them now that they're grouped up and at least see if you can see what the item is. But
yeah, just cheese it, because they might be fighting for a 1-up or a P-bag, and then you're like, son of a bee.
Yeah. Well, it looks like Xarnax is maybe getting another attempt. Nope. Looks like he's going to take a stab at 3 or 6, maybe.
He might be doing a little bit of a grind, looking for the red iron knuckle, seeing how much it's worth, and maybe doing a quick bit of grinding here.
Yeah, at the very least, get attack 2, life 3 could make that cave a lot easier. We got a hint for a P-bag in the west. Useful,
probably Medicine Cave.
Yep, definitely where you want to see the P-bag hints.
Yeah.
Seeing that there's a P-bag in a dungeon or something is a nice hint that you don't need to dig that dungeon, but not much beyond that. And ooh, 2 blue iron knuckles right after the start in this dungeon.
Yeah, I think he's looking for some more experience, and that's probably not what you want to be facing off against immediately there. Animus picking up the life spell in was that Raru?
I believe so. And we get a hint that Helmet Head guards the candle. Probably, I think both of these players are going to be confident enough in their combat they don't need it, but, given the difficulty of that cave right off the bat, it might be worth taking a stab into one and seeing if you can pick it up early.
Yeah. Early Maze Island here for Animus. That was also close by the start with another connection that I either missed or he didn't check just yet.
Yeah, I think it was just straight north led to this connection. It didn't look like there's a whole ton to be done in the west right off the bat.
Yeah, look a little closed in there.
Got a cave on Maze Island to what? Yeah, this is definitely the east. It looks like an island biome east. Ouch.
Trying to get some early items here, but that child, who knows if that's worth anything at this point. You're hoping for something maybe a little bit better right now.
Yeah, even a pea bag would be, at this point something that you'd be very happy with, I'm sure.
Yeah, a nice 500-point P bag to get a few quick levels right here in the beginning for me at least, is welcome.
Yeah. Xarnax going to make another attempt at the Dark Medicine Cave, but at 223 should be much less of an issue.
We're hoping it is. It is a double red Dyra, yeah. Well, at least he got one out of the way, and if he spends another life getting this one out of the way, maybe there'll be a third one if we're lucky.
Yeah. Thankfully, the third one isn't nearly as bad because it spawns right up next to the rock, but...
Oh!
The glove is going to be a really big pickup for Xarnax.
Yeah, especially if we see any glove blocks early on in palaces. If Xarnax if he gets the options to start digging into palaces early on and we see glove blocks. If Animus maybe forgets about Medicine Cave, it's entirely possible. He's now over on the east. He's got Maze Island to think about. He might just kind of forget about Medicine Cave sitting there and think, I was going to come back later, but now it's completely out of my mind, and who knows?
Yeah. Or even just being on the east, if he picks up any key or a fairy from one of these towns, if you've got the tools to complete a dungeon, it's right there. You feel like doing it, but one or two dungeons that you dig out just to find a glove block can cost a lot of time. That could be could be the difference. So we'll have to see.
And speaking of that nice 500-point P bag early game pickup there for the Forest Overworld tile from the east there for Animus. Also putting him at 223. I don't think Xarnax has gotten another level since, so he's probably still at 223 as well. Finding Maze Island at the same point in time, but leaving, coming back, trying to find the two items, I would imagine. I don't think Animus found either of the items here on Maze Island yet.
No, I think he did a quick little search, looked at the dungeon, and then took the cave to the east.
Okay.
Animus here in New Kasuto, which has the Reflect spell, which I'm sure I'll be picking up.
Nice to see that for free.
Yep. It's a little sad to, whenever you enter New Kasuto, when you can only pick up one or two of the 3 items, but...
Yeah.
Never feel bad picking up a required spell.
Also, only 5 magic containers to get the item in the old woman's basement, so hopefully that is not too far off for them to grab.
But even more exploration. Little more exploration from Xarnax shows that the raft tile is also on Maze Island, so big junction right off the start here at Maze Island.
Honestly, I was hoping for, maybe like a double Death Mountain connector dig in one dead end and one leading somewhere else. Well, you might be familiar with that.
Oh man, am I familiar with that? I think the biggest chance for a layout troll now at this point is we saw so little of the West that we could hope for a segmented West where we've got to take a trip through Maze Island to the east to Death Mountain back to the other side of the West.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. So one of those items in Maze Island right next to the palace, sometimes you see that. It just happened to be there this time as well. It was just a magic container on Xarnax's side. And looks like Darunia, he has the child off that desert tile, and he's going to turn it in for Dash. Early Dash might change some things up. I don't know how Animus is with Dash. Didn't he and Victor Santa Fe just did, was it their race recently where they had a Dash always on turned on?
I didn't catch that race, but I know that racers have started to experiment with it. I really like the Dash spell, but the idea of it being always on is a bit terrifying.
We're in the same boat on that one.
I know at least some people have been lobbying Digshake to, when the Dash Always flag is turned on, to turn fire into the Walk spell.
I saw that, yeah.
while it's helpful to go fast, there are definitely some rooms where you would much rather go slow.
Also, I forget who it was who said something. It might have been RCS, who's Rose City Saint in the Z2R Discord. And he was saying something about some sort of like net play connection where you could have a spell to slow down or speed up your opponent, I mean. And unfortunately, that would only work on emulator because consoles obviously no network connectivity. But interesting for sure to be able to mess with your opponent like that.
Yeah. Looks like dash spell, unfortunately, is 69, so not quite enough to be able to cast it, but it definitely scales down in price quickly early on, so hopefully by Magic 3 be able to at least get one cast off.
Second item in Maze Island looking like it's just a jar or something in the dark, not even a pea bag, so quite useless. Xarnax up and A and going to check where this pass-through takes us. Looks like Parappa, I would assume. There's just one enemy in there, so that's going to be Parappa taking us. I believe it was, he's going to up and A again, but that would have taken us west, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it looks like from the side there, it might be a caldera.
Oh, yeah. Interesting why he up and A. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was like an up and A out of Maze Island to go back to Starting Palace, and then he hit here and did an up and A after killing the bot, and, well, he's back here and he's back through, and we're going to see what Palace this is.
Looks like Palace 2, so no useful item here, unfortunately.
Yeah, just a candle. I don't know if Xarnax got that, but I'm sure he's not in here to dig out the with nothing. We haven't seen keys in the drop pool or anything like that. So it's interesting why Xarnax would dive into P2 so early.
Yeah, hard to say. I know Xarnax said he isn't quite as experienced with the V4 flags, so he may have just a different style that he is interested in doing, and it looks, I was going to say, almost looked like the boss room, but...
Yeah, for those who don't know, Xarnax is, I'm not 100% up to date on his current record-holding status, but he's definitely, if he's not a current world record holder on like Zelda 2 Vanilla, he's definitely a world record contender and has perhaps held some world records in the past. So definitely a good player here, but Vanilla Zelda 2, while a lot of it is the same at like the foundational level for enemies and the way everything looks and the way towns and spells and acquisition and stuff like that functions, the randomizer does throw quite a big wrench into the machine. So while he's familiar with a lot of just the basics, the randomizer definitely changes things up, which will confuse any veteran Z2 vanilla player.
Yeah, definitely as well with the changes that were made in V4, the overworld layouts, how the dungeons work, definitely how you route them for sure has changed quite a bit.
Yeah, and they are playing with community flags. They don't have, community rooms. They're not using any custom flags. We did almost have a change in the flag set early on from a groups 4 to a groups 3. The difference between those would have simply been no candle would have stayed enabled or disabled, the way that you look at that. But it would have been a change from a mixed enemy set in groups 4 to a non-mixed enemy set in groups 3. But at the end, they stuck with group 4, so we'll see a mixed enemy set all throughout this. And that's probably what maybe threw those red diras into Medicine Cave so early on.
So Xarnax has made his way through the caldera, gonna find the spell. Yet another item that we don't need.
Thunder for free in Saria, and go west to find the glove. We do know that.
It's like all Go West hits, usually useless.
Yeah.
I used to like back in the old 3.0 days when the raft was always in the west, the old Go West to find the raft hint.
Yeah, that was one change that I think messed with a lot of people with the connections. We were playing this flag set has connections set to anything goes. So obviously raft tile can appear on any continent. Connector caves can appear anywhere. And of course the Maze Island connector bridge can appear anywhere as well. And they can take you anywhere anywhere. And so as long you'll have 4 connections, and you're guaranteed to reach everywhere you're supposed to reach. But it is definitely a change from the 3.0 randomizer, where a few of the continent connectors are changed around.
And it looks like the randomizer sort of jammed everything in the west here in this western section of the west past the caldera. Got all the rest of the towns. Here's a heart container cave.
Yeah, thankfully it's not too punishing to get over here, but Animus showing us that there's that fairy cave with the Dyra, of course, sitting there. Not as bad as the red Dyra, but still hurts. Takes off over. It looks like over a heart container to just body those guys.
Thankfully, he's got the life spell helping him just tank his way through.
Yeah, that was a nice early game pickup for sure. It's always, I know, like pro players, they tend to not pick up the life spell because they're kind of rushing through the game. But I don't know. If you see life early on and it's completely free, it's probably worth just grabbing it.
Yeah, at least one of the caves there is boot blocked, and given that we've seen quite a few of the pass-throughs, pretty decent likelihood that that's going to be one of our items.
I wonder if Xarnax is gonna go back to Mito to turn in the medicine he just picked up for the shield spell. It doesn't look like it right now. Maybe when he goes back for downstab later on in the seed.
Yeah, a little sad that having seen now all the towns in the west and a decent amount of the east, still no sign of either jump or fairy.
Yeah, that's interesting. You begin to kind of worry at this point, thinking, oh no, Death Mountain, weird connectors, something's buried.
Oh, and there's the boots in the grass tile. Not going to wait very long to see that connector / item cave blocked in the southwest here.
And that's also going to open up our eastern continent just completely at this point, so that's also very nice. Animus should be up there shortly. I didn't see a palace on this side, so no, there were 2 right by start, and then of course the caldera. So there's no palaces on this side, so if they die on this side, it's going to put them into a game over and put them back at starting palace on the other side of the caldera. So that's probably not something you're hoping happens to you here. They're probably going to be a little bit careful if they're low on health and low on lives.
Yep, for sure. As Xarnax getting a little low on life here, I don't know how... Oh, never mind. There's a conveniently placed fairy tile. Followed by a nice swamp to nowhere. And useless Bagu.
Have we seen Trophy Cave? I think that's... And Magic Container Cave? We've missing those 2 caves, I believe.
I believe so. Oh, and it looks like there's another connection to the east off here by the bridge.
That Moa, hitting that Moa, bodying them, 2 heart containers at life 3.
There's the jump spell. So I wonder if that's going to be enough to trigger Xarnax to just turn around and go pick up down stab and turn in his medicine.
Yeah. Patrick, our tracker, checking in chat, saying we're missing the Trophy Cave, Magic Container Cave, and the P-Bag Cave on the west, which is also like the Pillar Cave. So 3 full caves.
I'm curious, it didn't look like there were that many caves left in that western section. There could possibly be a third segment hiding some items from us.
And we've seen the raft. Well, we've seen both cave connectors, and we've seen the raft tile, and we've seen the Maze Island Connector Bridge. So one of the caves on Maze Island takes us to the east. The Maze Island Connector Bridge on the west side of the west takes us to the east. So the raft tile is going to take us to Death Mountain. And that's not going to... We're out of connectors at that point. So Death Mountain's going to be kind of a standalone, non-hub area. So it's good to hear, but it's also like, where are these other 3 caves at?
Barring an important item being hidden on Death Mountain, it's probably not going to be required at this point, and we're running out of possible important items for progression.
Yeah, we're just hoping to find Fairy, but it's not going to be Child Block because we know Dash is in Darunia. So, and it's not in New Kasuto, so it's got to be in Naburu that they haven't found yet.
Yep. I think the only remaining potentially required item we don't know about is the flute. We've seen 3-eye rock, and it's possible we could have a palace under it.
Very true. Very true.
I'm always rooting for long, deep treks into Death Mountain, so we'll see if that comes up.
Both fortunately and unfortunately, it can't be a vanilla shuffle Death Mountain. So it shouldn't be too difficult of a dig, especially since there's only one way in and one way out.
Yeah, also, especially with the boots, a number of the Death Mountain layouts are made substantially easier by having boots.
Yes. Animus grabbing down stab, and he does have the medicine as well. He's going to the left. He's either, I assume he's going to grab shield as well. Only 4 heart containers, have not seen a 5th at this point. And so, yeah, grabbing shield, probably not the worst idea. You're already here in Mito. Just take it. It's probably going to help.
For sure, especially when it's such a short trip. Xarnax picking up the item that we didn't see from before when Animus was here in New Kasuto, because he had 5 magic containers to start, sadly, just a 6th.
Also going to be grabbing Reflect here as well. We don't have Spell. Did we go pick up? We did not pick up Spell, did we?
We did not.
Okay.
Animus coming around to this Boots Block Cave.
Patrick also saying that we've seen a freestanding forest tile. So Hammer, maybe that's where Nibiru is, hammer blocked behind a forest tile.
Oh, that would be lovely.
Red Dire is still a little beefy at attack 3 here for Animus.
Yeah. Although if Nibiru was blocked behind a forest tile, we're starting to run out of overworld spots, so we would potentially suggest that there might be an any key in one of these remaining spots to open up dungeons as a possibility.
Yeah, good call. Xarnax also grabbing down stab, so heart container here for Animus, and I'm sure Xarnax we're just watching them kind of just follow each other around at this point as they just go through the standard discovery. There's no real places where they can diverge at this point. They're just kind of going throughout the Western checklist, it seems, just to get the West over and done with, make sure that's completely discovered and explored, and then Islands East it is, hoping for, like you say, Magic Key if we can't get to Fairy.
Yeah, definitely this is the blessing and the curse of these very open early seeds, is that you sort of just have, well, here's my list of things I need to find, and sometimes you complete your checklist and you're like, oh, I still need this thing.
Yeah.
Rats. Then you start to look at the places you don't want to look, like Death Mountain.
Or even a Palace dig. This is kind of my problem. Well, here's Nibiru. Did we didn't check the spell. Maybe he just knows it's Fairy.
I think it might be process of elimination at this point for him. It looks like it was just fairly close to the entrance, and neither player saw it initially.
Yeah, Xarnax hit. There was another town just west of the Maison Connector Bridge that got us here to the east, and so I don't think Xarnax came down south far enough. I think he got jumped from that town, which was Old Kasuto, and then came back to the west and got downstab and all of that.
Animus is resetting. I think he's decided that he's got enough items, enough power. He's just going to start digging every dungeon he can find.
The good old medicine cave he didn't forget. So yeah, he's back here with 333 with downstab. This is going to be pretty easy for him to get through. Still might take a death in the dark with those double red Dairas, but he's definitely going to make it through and find that glove and be glad that he came back here and didn't forget about it. Oh, dashes. What a pro.
Oh. This is wonderful. I was thinking, you've got Fairy, just sort of skip the whole room, but dash is great. Oh, and we found the raft over here on Xarnax's side.
Yeah, this is going to be Risen Peabag Cave, I believe. So if Death Mountain is at some point required, well, Xarnax can get there. But, it wasn't too hidden, so Animus will likely just find that as well, process of elimination.
Yeah, I think...
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think with how quickly and efficiently both our players have been routing the overworld, definitely it seems like it's going to come down to dungeon execution as far as who finishes the seat up faster.
Yeah, I didn't see how much fairy costs at Magic 3, so... Oh, wait.
Ooh, a lot.
Still missed it. Oh, a lot. Yeah, okay, there it is, a full magic bar. Okay. Well, luckily this is only P1, so he shouldn't have to worry about too many doors, although we've got... yeah, okay.
Commentator curse immediately.
Well, at that point is maybe when you start not going in the direction of doors, because sometimes that's like a good thing, you know, especially when there's maybe like a glove block somewhere and you're not in the glove, you're like, all right, let's just try the other direction. Because if you had the glove, you would definitely go through that way, and it could just be a dead end where you waste time, whereas the other direction may actually be the answer.
And at the very least, taking some of these lefts could lead to more experience. I know Magic 4 probably isn't too far away.
Okay, so this is going to get him here. He's got to take a death here he should just take a death on Horsehead, though, right? Yeah, take a death on Horsehead, refill that magic bar so that when you kill Horsehead, you can actually make it through this door at the end. Assuming Horsehead himself and bosses aren't dropping keys.
Still best just to be safe and make sure not to soft lock yourself here. And Horsehead, fairly tanky today.
Taking it slow but steady for sure here. Well, no key, but a nice fat P bag. Early on, nice to see. Later on, not so much, especially when you're on Thunderbird. You don't really care about a 500-point P bag. You'd rather see a red jar or even a 1-up at that point.
Yep. I think the nicest thing here is that it's very quickly going to elevate him to the point where he can take Magic 4 with this level up, and hopefully that'll get Fairy's cost down to where he can cast it more than once.
No, still 73. Good lord.
Oh.
That is an expensive Fairy.
For sure. And is this going to color any of his decision on how much more he wants to explore here in Palace 1, knowing that even, you know, if he can find the item room fairly quickly here, it's going to be fine. But ooh, nice lava bath. Oh,
saves it. Yeah, saves it. But that's his last life. So if he finds the item room, he's not going to be able to get in the door.
Yeah, hopefully he can find. Oh. Gonna take a reset and head out. Saying beyond that, the only other possibility would be hopefully you find the left-facing item room that has a dripper in it and you can grind up Magic 5.
So whether this is P3 or P6 is anyone's guess until we see some windows or a boss here. So heading left first, an interesting choice. This is an elevator room, so maybe this will pay off. A nice Doom... Oh, that's very nice. I thought he was going to take a few maces to the face there from the Doom Knocker.
Well, there's our item. Won't be able to get it here, but having seen it, I don't think he's going to go out of his way. Oh, I forget. This is the room where you can just drop down, not the one where you have to take the elevator up.
Yeah, high floor or high platform up top is going to be free, and then the other one's a little bit lower. But you're right, that other one is like, oh man, I see it, and now I got to find an elevator, and that could be tough in like Palace 5, 4, 5, or 6 or something, where you can get, you know, it could be anywhere. It doesn't have to be logically below you. It could be any elevator just that goes up leads to that room.
Yep. Also, the windows there giving us an indication that this is in fact Palace 3.
Good call. Good. I did see those. Good call.
But I think Animus is comfortable enough with either potential boss, either potential dungeon layout that probably he was going to keep digging this regardless.
Yeah, it's it just simply comes down to if you get enough fairy cast to make it all the way to and through the boss at this point for doors. Oh, there's one life there. It always feels there's a key, that's nice, but it always feels bad that when fairy is so much, you're like, okay, I've only got 3 lives, we got 3 casts of fairy, there can't be more than 3 doors between me and where I need to go. So it's always something you got to keep in the back of your mind, especially it feels bad if fairy continues to stay expensive throughout all of this. But there's really no way to know if it's going to come down. It's been 73 for 2 levels now. It could simply drop to 28 on the next level, or it could still be like 63 on the next level. We'll have to just wait and see.
Oh, wow. Xarnax taking the boots-blocked path up to the far northeast end of the west finds a cave with the any key.
Very nice. Very nice. It might... I don't know. Xarnax has been I'd say he's slightly behind. If Animus can get this kill as well, get through and place the gem, he definitely is going to have in the back of his mind, I'm still missing a cave. Maybe he'll go look for that. Again, maybe he'll forget that that's there. If he forgets that it's there, if he doesn't look for it, he'll be stuck using fairy, whereas Xarnax could potentially catch up, not having to take those death abuses with the any key at his disposal, just opening any door that comes his way that blocks his path.
Yeah, it just all depends on how difficult some of these dungeons roll. You never know when it's going to be a straight linear path with 4 or 5 key doors in a row, or versus fairly straightforward dungeons like this one was.
Yeah, looking at his experience there, he was like, man, I gotta skip this and try to go for a magic 5. He wanted to take that attack level, and he's very close now to that next magic level, so probably it's kind of a bad room to be in for this. He can't cast thunder anymore either. He did have that key. He spent fairy and the key at the same point in time, but he does get the level. And I didn't see it. Was it 71? Did it go down?
I didn't see it either.
We're fired.
Yep.
Okay, Tracker thinks 37, Clem thinks 47.
37 and 47, very different numbers. The difference between 1 cast and 2. We'll see what it turns up being.
Xarnax now doing a little digging himself into palaces. I don't think this is one. I'm not sure where he stepped into.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure either. The colors look like they're rendering a little bit different based on different hardware.
Yeah, Xarnax plays on console, so things are going to be a little weird based on his capture. I assume he's in the Caldera. We'll see here in a moment on Patrick's side. No, he's not. Okay, so the Caldera is green, and this is P2. And yeah, I'm not sure where Xarnax is. So he must be... Oh, he's in here. This is P1. This is P1. It's just really that different of a color. So, okay.
Yeah, the columns showed that. I don't think we've seen P4 yet. Xarnax with jump spell strats on Horsehead here.
Very interesting.
Takes him down quickly.
Just a measly 20 experience for Horsehead, though. Horsehead never rolls high on experience like any other boss.
Yeah, and the very limited amount of experience there, the difference between getting the level and not before the gem placement.
Yeah, yeah. So I think I said something slightly incorrect earlier when Xarnax was first getting a sword technique. I assumed it was downstab, but it was actually upstab because he has upstab as well. So when he saw Darunia first, I believe that was upstab he grabbed. He also grabbed downstab on top of that because we just saw him use it. But so he's got both of those sword techniques. Yeah, so given Xarnax's, again, familiarity with just combat and execution in this game, might catch up here. I know the dash spell is going to be a little new to him, so it'll be interesting how much he uses it here. He seems to be using it a good bit. But yeah, if Animus can stay at the pace he's running, then he'll stay ahead. But anything can happen, and Xarnax might be able to catch up with that because of that magic key.
Yeah, definitely with the magic key at this point, Xarnax is just going to be going as fast as he can, clearing every dungeon he can find.
Not liking that community room, though, for sure, with the crumbling bridge, and there's always that trolling bubble on the other side you got to watch out for. Sometimes there's even a Moa that'll catch you off guard. He's going to head right instead of left this time, and I believe right's going to take him to the boss in the next room.
I don't know if it was intentional, but I feel like a lot of these community rooms are specifically designed to troll you with flying enemy bops into the lava.
There is a bit of different approach to some of these rooms that needs to be taken into account. Yeah, whenever they do the next, I mean, they had to do the judging and whatnot on these rooms when the community puts them together. I wasn't here for that, so I don't know all of the rooms that got rejected. But it's like you do have to find that good balance between difficulty and like not being too much of a troll that's too difficult that just causes frustration. Because if something's just too difficult to get through, that's, no one really wants to do that. You're hoping that people will play your randomizer. If it's just a super punishing community room after community room, it's like, yeah, I'm going to turn these off, right? So it's always a challenge. It's like that's what developers have to deal with when they make games and stuff. It's like, we're going to make this punishing enough, challenging enough, but not to the point where people want to just not play our game because this is ridiculously hard.
And yeah, I think Zelda 2 definitely walks that line sometimes, but
yeah.
Certainly enough of us enjoy it that it's must have hit on something.
Yeah, and you even see some people running custom flag sets in their races previous to this point where they have turned off community rooms because they're either not familiar with them or they just don't want to deal with them. And so, that's an option that racers have as long as they agree to that flag set.
Yeah, we've also seen some of our racers select even harder flag sets because they
yes,
because they are horrible masochists.
Always fun from the audience perspective, though, as long as those runners are capable of performing well. Otherwise, it's kind of a slog.
Yep. Well, definitely pretty soon, starting next week here, we're going to be seeing a little bit harder flag sets with the brackets starting up.
Yeah, longer races for sure, I would imagine, just based on the lack of spell item hints. So, right now, for anyone who's unfamiliar with what's happening right now with these flag sets in those round-robin preliminary placement stage, when we have a spell that's found in a town that has an item behind it, so Medicine and Mito, Trophy and Rudo, Child and Darunia, if we have like a progression spell or a spell you really want to have locked behind one of those spell items, you can just go talk to the NPC and they'll tell you where the item is. But starting in the brackets phase, that flag gets turned off, and so it just becomes kind of a good luck, dig for it, and hope you find it first kind of situation. So yeah.
And Xarnax has been using Dash Spell in literally every room that I can see here, just trying to put absolute speed with 7 magic containers and magic 5.
I wonder if he feels a little bit behind, perhaps. Maybe he thinks that Animus would have found that magic key before him. He doesn't have the fairy, though. He doesn't have a fairy spell, so that's an interesting exchange here, but he will eventually find Naburu whenever he heads back to the east, so...
Yeah, I think even just accidentally finding it as soon as you head to the east, it's fairly difficult to miss. I know when he first went to the east, he sort of hugged the west side of the map heading down the water route, but if he goes either south or east from the start, he should be able to find it no problem.
I don't know where there was the connector cave on Maze Island, and I don't know where it actually dropped us off on the east. So it's a little different from where the Maze Island connector bridge drops us off. Naburu being closer to the Maze Island bridge. So if he takes the cave, that might keep Fairy out of his reach for a little while longer. That's probably not going to be too big of a deal. He knows he wants that spell. He will eventually find it. Like you say, process of elimination. Someone like Xarnax has that in the back of his mind. He's like, well, I haven't seen Naburu, haven't seen the fairy spell. That's definitely where it's at. And I forgot where I was going with this, but ultimately, he may have to do a little bit of searching for it if he doesn't take that Maze Island connector bridge. It will be interesting to see if Animus does continue to clear out the west here after he's done with P2, or if he's just going to up an A, go back to the starting palace, or actually, he's already on Maze Island, so he may just up an A, go back to the start of the palace, leave, and then take the connector cave over to the east, just completely, ignoring the trophy cave and skipping that magic key, always being kind of a slave to using the fairy spell to get through here, which probably won't be too bad if it comes down more in cost, but if it doesn't, that may affect him. Yeah,
it's definitely... Oh, and there's a up and A from Animus again because it's just so limited on his uses of fairy. I think his 1440 that he's got right now for level is probably Life 6, but I didn't catch how much Magic 6 is, whether it's reasonable to expect to get that soon or not.
Yeah, if he can't, he's looking for Helmet Head, but if he can't push beyond that 1440 and then whatever attack is, because I might assume that attack 5 is also less expensive than Magic 6, if he can't get past both of those before he gets the Helmet Head and then add on top of that whatever Helmet Head gives and that 500 point P-Bag, if that's not enough to push him beyond that, he might go grinding to push beyond that to try to get Magic 6, because this is slightly punishing with only one cast of Fairy still. He may also, when he reaches the east, he may also go back to New Kasuto knowing he has those 5 magic containers, might check the basement there, and of course we know that that's an additional magic container for him, so that would be beneficial for him in his current situation.
Yeah, I think probably the first, if it were me, and I know Animus is quite good, so I wouldn't be surprised if he does the same thing. I think if you don't know where the last dungeon on the east is, because I don't think we've seen both dungeons on the east.
No.
Then it's always in the back of your mind, like, okay, I think I'm in go mode, but I don't know for sure. I could potentially still need that flute. And it's always going to cross your mind when you're passing by the town. It's like, should I stop here? Do I think I'm going to need the flute? Do I keep searching the map thinking, well, maybe there's a section I haven't checked?
Yeah, for sure. Looks like a loop on his side. Up and A. Interesting, though, the up and A kind of cancels this out, but he did go into that triple dripper room, that community room, which I am a big fan of. But he skipped that P-Bag that was sitting there on the ledge. So we were just talking about his experience and moving on to Magic 6. So it was interesting that he skipped that. Of course, seeing the loop in the room after that would have just simply reset his experience. So, yeah. But regardless, we didn't know that was there when we saw the P-Bag.
We do get confirmation from Xarnax's level up here that 2380 is in fact how much is required for Magic 6. So that's going to be a tough order for Animus.
Yeah, it doesn't. We don't have this flag set has average enemy experience, so we're not going to be seeing anything too crazy high. If we had the high experience flag set currently set, then we would be seeing 300, 500, 700, 1,000 points from some of these standard enemies. Like blue Lizalfos can drop 700 to 1,000 experience, I believe, on the high enemy experience flag set. Whereas I think bosses top out at 1,000 as well.
Oh, it looks like Xarnax here has found Dungeon 4. So I think that means that the runners know where all the dungeons are, and we're not likely to require a flute here.
Yeah, Trail's pointing out in chat that the palace might actually be under the forest tile as well. So that's or no, we've seen that you just said that the fact that we found this.
I think this P4 means that we know where all the dungeons are. I'm not 100% certain, but given that Xarnax went straight here, I feel like he probably thinks he's in dash and go mode at this point, and he's just zipping his way through these dungeons.
Okay, so we still need GP and P5, and Death Valley is going to be one of those, but we don't know where that other one's going to be or which positions they're going to be in. I was going to say checking in with the tracker.
Always appreciated Patrick keeping an eye out on things for us. Animus making pretty quick barba here.
Oh, that was almost bad. He's trying to be, he's trying to be a little careful that in that final hit, it looks like he just kind of misstepped and just fat fingered something the attack to get through there, and just bodied Barba, almost killing himself in the process. But with Barba being low, not wanting to get that last attack, push through bar button, end up in the lava. Although, I don't know. He needed to die anyway, but he definitely wants to try for this level, so...
Yeah, for sure. I don't think it's going to be easy for him to be able to get up enough to get Magic 6, but at the very least, taking the double level here, attack 5, life 6, would mean that he can reasonably pick up Magic 6 in the next dungeon. But he looks like he's just going to settle for attack 4. It's a bit of a strange decision. If you just take the level and then plant the gem, you'd get attack 4 and life 6, or attack 5 and life 6, but...
Yeah. We also saw that the item in P4 is the trophy. I don't think we got the spell hint for that earlier. I forget what was behind the trophy. I don't think it was anything
I believe
too
it's
special.
A spell, so potentially valuable, but probably not.
Yeah, you never know. Well, here's the item in P6 here.
There's always the chance if we haven't found that last dungeon that it could be blocked behind an item, and that item could require a spell. And both runners still neck and neck, tied up at 4 gems placed here.
And there's our flute. So I guess we're going to get a chance to see what is behind Three-Eyed Rock.
If Three-Eyed Rock has Dungeon 5, or especially Dungeon 5, potentially also GP behind it, that is going to be huge for Animus, having now picked up his flute.
Yeah, watching Xarnax in the overworld there, he just walked by Nuburu again, so that's just north of where he's at. Is he really going to dig into... Is this really an encounterless Death Valley? How lucky for him without having the fairy spell.
Oh, and the triple down stab on the dash across those spiders. Extremely cool.
Xarnax just flexing there.
Here's the trap tiles.
Here we go. Yeah, no, he walked right by it, the town. He must have thought that he was there already. Animus also picking up that sixth magic container there in the old woman's basement, so he's a bit better off in terms of fairy usage at this point.
Yeah, without the fairy spell, Xarnax is going to be forced to take encounter skips here to try and get past this Death Valley.
I don't know if we have any Moas in here. Neither one of them have the cross, so it doesn't look like it. Looks like he should be okay.
Yeah, at the very least, it looks like the normal encounters definitely don't have any Moas. The strong encounters could be potentially scary still.
Animus is going to be picking up Upstab here. Not a bad option if you've been watching some of the past races we've had just over the past few days. We've seen a few Upstab blocks in GP, which isn't too normal, but they've come up a few times and it's a little higher than usual, but rando gonna rando, so, you know, anything better safe than sorry, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know if either of these two players know the Upstab clip.
Well, also with the community rooms, there's that S room, or depending on the orientation of the room, with the blocks that could look like an S or a 2. So that's something they wouldn't be able to clip through there on that one.
Yeah. Unfortunately for Xarnax, Death Valley has GP in it, and he's taken the long walk out.
So that means Three-Eyed Rock, Forest Tile? I don't know. I'm hoping Animus comes across this Three-Eyed Rock sooner than later, because I'm dying to know what's behind it.
Yeah, with the amount of exploration that they've done in the East now, having not seen it, it definitely looks like it is probably in one of those two places.
Xarnax also opting to walk out of Death Valley with these encounter skips instead of just up and A. He doesn't have any experience to hold on to, and it's not like it takes too much time to get back. Speaking of Moas, there's our large enemy encounter does have Moas in it there, so a little bit more dangerous than usual. Getting very lucky, though.
Oh, no! Animus United fighting Palace 5 under Three-Eyed Rock.
Wow. That's huge. That could be the game changer right there for sure. That could be, unless Xarnax just magically digs Palace 4, was it? That had the... No, 6.
6, yeah. that's gonna be really big, because Xarnax still just looking around this east, trying to see if he, and from his perspective, he still hasn't seen one of the palaces and hasn't seen his remaining town to get ferry, and he's just like, where are these things?
Animus looks like he picked up another magic container as well. Must have been looking away at that point, because now he's got 7 out of the total of 8. So I don't know where he picked that up exactly, but an item somewhere.
Yeah, the water tile had a magic container on it.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, so much for the magic key. I mean, the magic key would have been an early catch-up item for Xarnax, but it just a tough break here that luckily P6 had the flute. Animus dug for it because, I mean, I guess he saw it and maybe he thought, well, he might need the flute, so I should start digging for items just for the hell of it. And it just so happened to be there. Could have played out totally different. Could have been that GP wasn't in Death Valley, and that could have been 5, and that could have been where the flute was. You know, that just up to this point, it was anyone's guess.
Looks like Xarnax is finally going to find the last town here. Just some
Perfect.
Unfortunate routing earlier.
Oh! Says no to Nibiru. Says, I don't need no ferry. Ferry's a crutch.
I mean, it's definitely possible that ferry isn't required. It's especially with the magic key. There are certainly a few ferry black rooms that you can find in both GP and some of the other palaces, but it's probably less than 50-50 that it's actually hard required.
Yeah, it's I mean, we haven't seen any ferry blocks in any palaces yet, so that's good news for him. I will say that Xarnax is potentially a gambler, and I'm going to call back to an old race, and I'll probably call back to this a lot of times in any commentary career I've got here with the ZSR, Z2R stuff, but Xarnax, just earlier this year in the 2021 Max Rando tournament, he had a race against Top Life, and I forget, it was like a 3-gem seed or something like that. He took a gamble, didn't have the glove, went into GP without the glove, and he was able to do it with several glove blocks along the way. Totally took him down the correct route at that point, and he finished that seed. And that was, I would have never thought to jump in GP without the glove, but he did it, and it worked out for him. So maybe he's thinking, no ferry, no big deal, but I don't know.
It could also be possible that at this point he thinks he's behind and, looking at something like ferry, and it's like, well, I need to start taking gambles to get myself ahead, and ferry not being required is definitely one that you can take.
Speaking of ferry blocks, though, Animus happens to be in a ferry required room, unless Xarnax is going to be busting out some eco key strats, which I'm not sure is something he's going to be wanting to try to pull off here in a randomizer.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Xarnax knows the vanilla eco key, but I don't think that was exactly the same bubble placement, and I don't know. I don't know how to eco key myself. I don't know how adjustable it could be. I know it is not easy.
Yeah, probably not something you're looking to pull off with randomized enemy placement in these rooms. Fast bubble, slow bubble. It's all and off of a MOA as well. It's all possible, but it's going to be different. It's probably going to be a lot different on timing and everything. So. And maybe that this route isn't required. Maybe there's another path to Guma here. Entirely possible, but so far, not sure. I think we've seen this, so that ferry room might have just looped us back around to this elevator that we saw. That's entirely possible. So Xarnax might be able to luck out on that, but we'll just have to wait to see where Guma is.
Yeah, Dungeon 5 definitely can be long and twisty and loopy and very confusing. You never actually know whether a particular path you took ended up being hard required or not, unless it's right before the boss.
I also see a wild Joshi D has appeared in chat. Welcome, sir. Watch the Joshi D and Unos bootleg stream of Level Engine versus Countess just yesterday. Top-notch quality, gentlemen.
Hope to live up to that glorious standard.
lot of rooms in P5 here. A little bit of a troll, potentially giving Xarnax an opportunity to catch up, but I don't know. Without my Jesus, Xarnax, Jesus.
I appreciate how brave he is with the dash spell, using it in almost every room, no matter what.
Yeah, wow. I'm not sure he was ready for the triple dripper room here. Animus finding Guma, but still not sure if that fairy block room was required. I don't think it was, based on that elevator we'd seen. It could have been a duplicate elevator. I could be mistaken, but at the top of that elevator, it had a specific room with kind of a notch cut out of the shaft. So I do believe it was not a duplicate elevator room, and I do believe it was just at the top and then left and then all around that area to get through. So again, trying to confirm that fairy might not be required in P5, and that might be okay for that. Xarnax might luck out, but he still needs the flute before he can even get there.
Yep. I think at this point it's somewhat likely that Xarnax suspects that there's an additional required item for a palace in the east, and I think it's almost certainly going to be digging out any palaces he goes to from this point on.
What might work, I mean, he's in P6 now, so he will likely find the flute if he's digging for the item. What could happen, sometimes we see this, that, GP ends up being a little bit of a troll, and Animus might have a little bit of a difficult time with maybe a more difficult GP, and that might allow Xarnax to catch up. It's going to be, I'd say there's a slightly large gap between the two at this point in time, just based on that flute. But I don't know. Maybe GP will be a total deep dig to find Thunderbird, 17 rooms in or something. I don't know. It's entirely possible. So you can't call it until someone is finally finished, for sure. Artea recently had a pretty rough GP just the other day in his race. So we're seeing, I don't know what it is. I don't know what this 4.0.4 update that DigShake came out with, but it seems like we've gotten extra trolley seeds just recently for whatever reason. Yeah, if Xarnax keeps burning through this dash and it works out for him, then that might just be, you just need a little bit of time saved here and there, and it's entirely possible that he is able to make that happen. They've got the same levels at this point in time, so no one has a clear, distinct advantage there. But just maybe Xarnax's combat skill when it comes down to when things start getting a little bit tougher.
Yep, and there's always the potential for some extremely difficult combat in GP. Definitely with mixed enemies on, you can get some very trolly, 6 Bird Knight waffle rooms and whatnot.
Absolutely. So after Xarnax takes out Barba here, he needs to keep going for the item after Barba. Otherwise, it's GG for Animus then. Thought we were going to see some fancy jackhammer strats here.
I would say doing a jackhammer this deep into 6 with only 1 life left is pretty brave, but we've definitely seen Xarnax being extremely brave in some of his previous plays, so it wouldn't be completely surprising.
Yeah.
But nice easy takedown with jump strats.
And I was getting a little beat up by that flame there. Okay, here we go. I thought I might have been walking back somewhere else. I was wrong, because here's the boss room.
And he's going to keep going. No big surprise.
Yeah, with his last life, like you said here, though, it's I don't think the item's too far, but he needs to not be dashing face first into these stuff that still hurts him at life 7. Because it's not that far. I think it's right up this elevator, and there's also some blue iron knuckles in here, I believe.
And some, looks like a Doom Knock. With dash spell, it's sort of just
no big deal.
Zoom past him.
So I assume he's happy to see that, and he might just head back to 3-eyed rock at this point as well.
Yeah, if you find something like that ends up being required for progression in a really easy spot that you just missed until the end, then you feel, oh man, I'm way behind. This is awful. But finding it all the way deep into 6, you might think, well, maybe my opponent didn't pick it up, right? Maybe I decided to keep going and they thought they were pretty much in go mode.
Animus now done with all 6 of his palaces, and he's going to be headed to Death Valley here. And Xarnax over to 3-eyed rock, going to find 5. Hopefully he can find Guma fast enough to where he can try to close this gap. Still unsure if he's going to go back to Naburu for Fairy, though.
Yeah, I think given the layout this 5 had, the possibility exists to clear it very quickly. Whether Xarnax will decide to take that particular path through the loops that happens to lead there first, we'll have to see.
Yeah, and that 3-way elevator, if he's going to take standard routing, he probably is going to head right first instead of going to the top. And to the top is the right answer, and to the right is going to be a loop that takes him right back around to that elevator. So if he falls for that loop, then Animus is going to have a bigger lead here, but he can close this gap if he, luckily picks the top of this elevator that's coming up.
And we get to see our palace here for GP, a nice calm blue brick setup, coming in at right around the 1 hour mark.
Yeah, very nice from Animus. Very much 1 hour flat walking into GP here. That's pretty good. With a forced fairy in the first room.
Oh no!
Oh boy, if he does not grab fairy, he's going to be back out looking for it. And this is the elevator that he needs to go up at, so unfortunately he's not going to close any time gap here. Yeah.
Fortunately, the fairy room is the very first room in GP, so he won't have dug in significantly only to find that he's blocked. He'll very quickly know, oh, I gotta go get fairy.
Xarnax making a course correction, though, and heading up in the elevator where he needs to go.
Nice.
This is a very nice blue for Ganon, interior decorator. Who would have thought?
I always appreciate when GP has these very nice calming tile sets instead of the traditional, black background, red bricks.
The very angry, rage-inducing color scheme.
Yeah, nothing worse than taking a death to Thunderbird only to have the palette reinforce your rage that you have to now do it again. Another upstab block.
So interesting. A fairy block and a potential upstab block. I didn't see what was at the top of that first elevator that Animus checked, so I don't...
Yeah, there was a left there. Possible that that's the route, but Animus gonna take this right rather than a left without good reason.
Although, that couldn't have been the left, obviously, or else it would have been a complete dead-end loop, so...
Yeah, a lot of junctions very early on here. Coming into another 4-way junction. Oh
wow,
dear,
a lot of choices.
This is extremely nasty.
Yeah, it always feels because you got to check the top and the bottom, and that's another upstab block there.
Yep, and now there's 4 different rights he can choose from, and pick one of them, find out what it is. Thankfully, a quick dead end. He's gonna reroute. Xarnax finding the cross here in Dungeon 5, choosing not to pick it up. Don't blame him.
Yeah, Xarnax not 100% familiar with all these community rooms here for sure. I think he's going to check left here, which is actually a dead end.
Oh, and this room is very tricky. Looks like he doesn't have enough to cast dash, so he'll be able to make it. You can make that dash, that gap with just a jump and no dash, but it is extremely precise.
a nice timid emoji room with some dots.
Yeah. Thankfully, just the multi-dots rather than the strict vertical dots, and another dead end. When that room spawns with just the vertical dots, they are impossible to block and hit extremely hard. And with the floor that's that low, it's basically impossible to dodge them, and it can destroy your life very quickly.
Yeah, whenever there's a waffle or emoji room like that, I'm always trying to get a little bit of height off of the ground, because there's just no time really to just react to when they appear, and they eat through usually a full heart container every time you get hit.
Trail's informing me that you in fact cannot make that gap with jump. I definitely have. I have definitely tried and failed at least a couple times, and that immediately ferried as soon as I got up from the death.
A very quick Guma for Xarnax, getting inside of the hitbox, getting some multiple hits there with down stab, and up and down very quickly. And if he does not go back to Naburu at this point to get Fairy, he's going to be out of luck in that very first room. So hopefully he heads back there before heading back into Death Valley. Animus is going to have, Xarnax is going to have one extra attack level at 667 versus Animus's 567. 5 attack is maybe a little low here, so Thunderbird might take here, speaking of Thunderbird, might take a few extra hits, and I'm not sure. I guess we're about to see Animus perform here on Thunderbird. Yeah, Xarnax going into Naburu to grab that fairy spell, so that's going to work out for him.
Yeah, pretty sensible given that he has dash and is on the way. It's a pretty quick pickup.
All eyes on Animus as he fights Thunderbird here, keeping the pendulum. That's what we're looking to keep going here. Maybe 2 hits in each direction is essentially what you're looking for. If you get fancy, you can do more than 2. You can get 3 on standard jumps. You can get even more than that if you start doing a crouching stab, and a down stab kind of motion, moving to the left. You can get sometimes 5 and 6 hits in, but that's not always consistent every single time. It just, I don't know. You can still get more than 2 to 3 hits in, though, if you've practiced a good bit on Thunderbird.
Yep, I like this very safe, consistent, especially being, I think, a little low on lives. Just being safe, being consistent, making sure you get the kill.
Yeah, attack 5 not being too bad overall here. 6.5 minutes after entering GP, Animus has Thunderbird down, and unsure how many rooms remain after this. We've seen so much of the palace so far. There's been several branching paths, although they've been quick dead ends, some of those paths. So maybe there is a good bit of palace left here, almost falling into the lava.
Ooh. All right, one life left. Hopefully not too many rooms remaining, but never know with the number of forks that there were, whether they're long loops or just quick dead ends.
And
then here's Darklink.
So I guess what ultimately kind of paid off for Animus is that very early dig of palaces. He got the jump on Xarnax, and he never really ran into any problems along the way. Nothing that really stopped him from being able to complete a palace. He just kept moving. And, again, that flute pickup in P6 was where he needed it, at the point he needed it in progression to push into P5. And then from there, it was just into GP. And it was just smooth sailing for the most part. No real trolls along the way. And Xarnax also seeing the same thing, just starting a little late overall.
Right, and Animus is done with an official race time of 107.56.
That was incredibly good time there. Almost 68 minutes for a full clear, 6-gem full clear with GP, Thunderbird, everything. That was a very nice time.
Yeah, definitely. Given outside of Death Mountain is pretty much a full clear. I think he didn't end up getting a couple items in the West, but...
Yeah, the connectors, you're right. Without Death Mountain, without any Death Mountain, we didn't even look at Death Mountain, so we didn't even know what was there, what it even looked like, what its biome was. So we could completely ignore one of the 4 areas, one of the 4 continents, if you wish to call, if you consider Death Mountain to be a full continent. But and the connectors were very forgiving as well, being right there next to start, giving us direct access to Maze Island and the East, probably 30 tiles away from each other. And Animus joining us here. GG on your just shy of 68-minute full clear of this seed here.
Hello, hey, thanks. Yeah, I thought that was one of my best seeds I've ever done. I just thought everything kind of fell into place, and the routing just was pretty straightforward as soon as I was able to pick up that glove.
Yeah, we were just talking about that, where the connectors to Maze Island and the East, you had multiple options to the East. You had close connectors that were very close to start, so you didn't have to dig deep anywhere or go through. You weren't even forced to go through the caldera every time you wanted to go to the East. Everything was right there for you. So as you began digging palaces early on, and you just kept cruising from there, and that's what we were just talking about. There were no real hiccups or any hitches along the way that you ran into. Finding the flute in P6, just in line with progression, where when you needed it, and it just so happened that it was where P5 was. We were also discussing that it might have been that P5 might have been behind the forest tile that you guys did not have the hammer for.
Yeah, I had thought of that. I'd seen that the three-eyed rock when I went to the other side of the East at first, and I did see the forest tile the first time I went to East, so I was aware of both. I was kind of hoping that there weren't 2 palaces. I don't think that's possible. I think there can only be 1 palace behind either Three-Eye Rock or Hammer, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't know. I guess I just, in the moment, I think of worst case scenario sort of deals there. So luckily, it ended up being the flute, and that was in I think that was P6, no P3. It was on Maze Island. Maybe it was P6. I don't know. It was one of those. Anyway, I just kept going because I knew the item was going to be pretty close. That's why I just kept going. I almost up 8 there, and thankfully I didn't. Otherwise, this probably would have been a much different seed if I had not found that flute.
Yeah. Go ahead, Ellen.
I was saying we were worried for a decent part of the early part of the seed. Xarnax had found the any key in the West, and you were relying on Fairy the whole time, and it was so expensive that some of the early dungeons had the potential to troll you, but it looks like you managed it quite well, making sure that you could get through everything, take a minimum of unnecessary deaths to make it through with that very expensive Fairy spell.
Yeah, it was really expensive. It's unfortunate it was in the West. I saw there was a hint for a P bag, and I saw there was 2 different items I hadn't gotten in the West, so I didn't really want to dig in West anymore. But yeah, that's a little bit unfortunate. Of course, the one time I go back into P4 for a key for GP, I don't get that glove lock key room I always seem to run into. So I guess that's good that I didn't run into it, but yeah, I wanted to make sure I had a key before entering GP for sure nowadays.
That is a good. You're not wrong about that by any means. That room can really set you back.
Oh yeah. My first 2 tournament races, I had that room and went out both times to try to find a key. So yeah, I didn't want that to happen again. I'm pretty much scarred for life from that room now. Anytime I don't have an any key going into GP.
I know that room definitely has drawn some mixed opinions from the community.
I mean, I don't hate it overall. It adds some, intrigue to it. it annoys me in the moment, I guess. But overall, I mean, I understand. I like being able to test your abilities in different ways in Zelda 2. I don't like, just plain vanilla stuff. I like having a little bit of a difference, so I'm okay with it overall. But yeah, I just want to make sure I'm prepared for it.
Well, you've definitely had success with it. You're now 4-0 coming into the bracket rounds.
Yeah, that's incredible. Great job, man. 4-0 in your group there.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, I was very fortunate to go up against really 4 great runners overall. Xarnax definitely has done well this seed as well. I mean, it looks like it's definitely going to be a sub 120 here. So, I mean, I know Xarnax was a little bit worried about the 4.0 update, but I think Xarnax has done great as well.
Yeah, the only thing that Xarnax was making us worry a little bit about was the fact that he didn't pick up Fairy until the very end. He did dig into Death Valley to check to see what palace it was, because he didn't have any other means to check for where the third palace was on the east, and he didn't have Fairy, so he dug into Death Valley to find out that it was GP. Then he got out of there, and he had to have known it was in Naburu just out of process of elimination, but he didn't pick it up until the very end. It was so funny because obviously you're never sure if Fairy is going to be required in GP or at any point in the seed whatsoever. You did see a Fairy room in P5, which ended up not being required. But the moment you walked in GP, the very first room was a hard Fairy block. So luckily, after Xarnax was done with P5, he did hit up Naburu, and then he had Fairy. And obviously, as you're watching, he's about to finish here.
Having a nice, fun, epic duel fight in Dark Lake the fairway.
Yeah, very frustrating to fight it that way, but that's going to be a GG for Xarnax as well, coming in at the official time. Looks 1:15:50, 1:15:50. So not too far behind Animus there. But that early dig on the palaces definitely paid off. The only real hiccup would have been Medicine Cave right at the beginning. Both of you had to up and A out of there. But Xarnax did return, and he did make it in there, and he got an early glove, but it wasn't, if that would have been like the magic key or something early on, that would have been potentially a game changer. But the glove, I don't know if there are any glove blocks in standard palaces. Kind of forget to catch those, to kind of overlook them as you play through them, since both of you had the glove fairly early on.
Well, it's also just something, when you're digging into palaces, you don't feel like you need to dig for every single item. When you go into palaces, now you have the glove, you have the relief of knowing you don't have to go for it, because, if you're going into GP, you're going to need glove to beat it, so it's just
Very
one less
true.
thing you have to worry about, really, especially when you get it early. It's something I really like. I feel like I can just go into cruise control if I get glove and or glove and fairy / any key early on.
Xarnax is going to be joining us for an interview here in a moment. But was there any other point throughout the seed where you felt you were worried about anything? You kind of always feel like you might be behind because you don't know where your opponent is, and Xarnax is not new to Zelda 2, although potentially a little rusty here. But was there anything else that really tripped you up? Maybe the flute, but other than that.
Yeah, and I didn't, I just kind of lucked into the flute. I wasn't really even thinking of that in the back of my mind. I was just kind of thinking, just because I hadn't even seen one palace in the east, so I was, of course I hadn't really digged around the east either, so that was the thing I wanted to do, was just, full clear west, full clear Maze Island, and then figure out what's in the east and be able to just stay on that continent till the end, because, I knew GP was on the east somewhere too.
Very true, very true. Xarnax joining us here in the post-race interview room. GG's to you, Mr. Xarnax.
Thank you very much.
A very good race from your side still, as much as you, I know, have perhaps been a little rusty, though. You were just talking the other day about checking your time versus other post races and running some practice seeds and whatnot. 75 minutes overall for a full 6-gem clear here. Not too bad jumping back into it here for sure. Animus just digging into palaces slightly earlier than you did, and it ended up paying off. And there was really nothing tripping either of you up along the way here.
I disagree.
Do tell.
I think the two big things were palaces, reconstructed palaces. I just do not enjoy at all. They're partly just because my mind isn't built to remember that many new things, and I just get lost. Like when I find multiple loops, tracking how many branches I've left behind. Like I can sometimes keep one in mind, and even that sometimes I forget where I've even left one option behind. And when it gets more than that, then I'm just going in circles until I see something that vaguely rings a bell or something. And then there were a few spots where my overworld, like I was retreading ground, trying to remember. The big one was trying to get back to Maze Island. I couldn't remember where the path to that was. Then there were obviously lots and lots of little things that added up. And it was funny because with all that, I felt like a lot of the order that I actually did clear stuff was mostly really fortunate. And even that wasn't enough to overcome the issues.
Well, from our perspective, you did fairly well, I would say. The only thing that we were concerned about in the end was that we saw Animus find the flute in P6, and then he discovered that P5 was behind Three-Eyed Rock. And we were concerned that whether it was Three-Eyed Rock or the forest tile that could have been hammer blocked, so that could also hold a palace as well. So we weren't sure which direction that was going to go in, and when we saw the flute revealed that final palace that was still missing, at that point we were wondering if when you hit P6, if you were actually going to dig out the item there, just out of nature of trying to find progression items. And you did, and ultimately that's what led to opening up P5.
At least keeping it a little bit close.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely didn't remember seeing Palace 5 anywhere, and I passed Three-Eyed Rock a couple times, and the last time I passed I'm like, there's so many times, I don't think I've seen it be anything important in any of my practice seeds, but it very well could be.
Yeah, it's usually not. You usually don't see, Three-Eyed Rock or Palace being hammerlock nowadays.
Right.
It's pretty rare, but I guess it can happen, obviously. So, yeah, I mean, if I almost up 8 in that P6, so I mean, I almost probably would have lost that if I had update there, because I probably just would have went digging a bunch of other different places.
Oh, interesting.
Besides P6.
I almost updated just because I was lost. How long was I in? I'm pretty sure I went straight to P6 after, I think it was P4. And my splits, I looked like 13 minutes in between them. But yeah, a lot of that, like I was saying, was just finding Maze Island again, I guess. But yeah, that's a huge time loss.
Now, one of the other things that I'm sure you were fortunate not to have to deal with was I never found the any key, so I had the expensive ferry the entire time. Down to
what's really funny, somehow I didn't see Naburu my first 2 times in the East. When I walked by Three-Eyed Rock, I was like, oh, did I go in that town? Maybe not. So I basically did the entire seed. I got Fairy right before I went into GP. Which was hilarious. It would have been really disappointing if I hadn't, because the first room was Fairy blocked.
Yeah, it was very immediate. There were a lot of upstab rooms I noticed too, but I don't think any of them were the right way. I can't even remember now, but I just remembered seeing a bunch of upstab rooms.
Yeah, I did not get a good grasp on that palace at all.
I think the room right before Darklink, if I'm not mistaken, was an upstab block. I could be mistaken though. But yeah, there were a few upstabs in there. One of them might have been a dead end. The other one might have been the right way.
I know that room right before Darklink, I took a death, and it was a very nasty room. I just ferried through that. I was...
I think I just dashed through it.
Yeah.
One thing we noticed, we weren't sure if you would be comfortable with the dash spell Xarnax, given, it's another new addition to the 4.0 randomizer.
Right.
But man, you were using it in basically every room, and it looked to be very effective.
It is a lot of that is one change that is a lot of fun. It's definitely takes experience to know when to use it and when to save your magic for other things you might need. And I kind of just blow through it, and then if I come into something where I need magic, then I just die, and that's working out okay, I guess. I don't know how to optimize it yet, but it is a lot of fun to blast through rooms with that spell.
It can get you in trouble as well at times, especially depending on the enemy set or what's happening in it.
Yes, it did a couple times for sure.
But was there anything else that stuck out about this seed? Anything in general? We talked about the medicine cave early on, which was a little punishing. But Xarnax, you dug the glove out first, and Elendar and Animus came back later to get the glove. But yeah, like Elendar pointed out, you had the magic key. He was using Fairy, which was 73 magic up until like magic 6, or it was magic 5 or something.
It was like 57 at magic 5, I think, when I got it. It was crazy, yeah.
So a lot of death abuse.
A huge disadvantage.
And we were wondering if that was actually going to allow you to gain that, because again, Animus starting the palaces first. We were wondering if that magic key find was actually going to allow you to catch up and lessen the gap between you, because if you had to continue to take death abuses, it's entirely possible that a boss would have been potentially far enough into the palace where you only have 3 lives, you only get to cast Fairy 3 times, and that would have really kind of messed with his routing. He would have either had to go grind out another magic level or just come back later with a higher magic level to make it through that palace. But it never ended up that way. So it just seemed to just play out in Animus's favor once you guys both started digging palaces.
Yeah, that does sound, makes for an interesting race. Seeing how that'll play out it's nice when there's a gap, when you can see a way for whoever's behind to make up ground. That always keeps a little bit of interest.
Yeah, you never want to see a blowout. It's just unfortunate when that happens from the audience perspective.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, this one I was wondering about that. I felt really bad my first death trying to dig out the glove, and then when I got it, I was like, this could be, a hard enough cave to deter someone from digging it if. Animus, just from the times that I've seen him put up, I didn't expect he'd be likely to forget to come back there. But it certainly was a possibility. Because orphaning that cave early kind of made sense. It was that those 2 red die res at 1/1/1 were just not a fair fight.
Definitely not.
Certainly not. Yeah, certainly not. I think they're going to be kicking us off here shortly. We have another one if we have a restreamer for the next race coming up at 10 o'clock here.
Right. Well, unfortunately, sorry to interrupt. Just to fill in on that one, we don't have a restreamer or commentators yet. But that could change in the next 30 minutes, fingers crossed, but it's not looking good at the moment.
Okay. It's entirely possible I might be able to commentate at 10 o'clock as well. So if people aren't tired of hearing my voice, I may be there for the next race as well. I was going to say, Elendar, if you have any final thoughts here, anything with the seed. It was pretty smooth, but yeah.
Yeah, no, GG to both players. Good luck in the brackets to Animus, and good luck in the rest of your races, Xarnax. I know I'm rooting for you to make the brackets so we can have our traditional match.
Yeah, that'd be great. But yeah, GG Animus. I didn't have any expectation of winning this one, especially this one being my first one. Didn't really get any others to warm up with, but hopefully I'll see you again in the brackets.
Yeah, GG Xarnax. Yeah, I definitely know you're gonna put up some awesome times the rest of the week here, and thanks to our commentators and to our tracker and restream for putting all the work in today to get this shown off to everybody.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. And as stated, want to thank our runners. Thank you to AnimusUnited and Xarnax42 for putting on the awesome race. Thank you to Elendar and Mirai for the commentary, and thank you to our tracker, BKPKT Patrick. Did an awesome job, everybody. As mentioned, there is another Zelda 2 randomizer tournament match coming up in half an hour. It's Devious RNG versus Shaddy. Hopefully we can get a restreamer and commentators for it. I'm going to keep your fingers crossed. Coming up tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, we have a Majora's Mask Randomizer Season 2 tournament match between Grotinderdoes and Revan, and another one at 7 p.m. Majora's Mask again between Alf and Sea Falcon. So with that, we're going to go and sign off here. Hope you all had a great time watching, everybody, and have a wonderful rest of your night.